everybody, welcome back boys and girls. It's your main math man, Mr. Shank, coming to you live from Mayfield. In this video, we're working on this study guide, and we're starting with these angle pairs. And we're trying to make sure we understand some of these key vocab and key ideas that go along with angles. So for questions 1 and 2, it says look at these angles, and it has several angles here, and again they're all separated and labeled with different letters. Also with each of those letters they have a specific value that goes along with it. So make sure you're seeing those angle values and make sure you can see, alright, so for the first one it says which two angles are complementary. So we know for sure, again, complementary means their sum is 90. So if their sum is 90, that means that two angles add together equals 90. So let's try to find two angles that would add together to equal 90. So right away I can say, well, I know it cannot be this one, and it cannot be angle E, and it cannot be angle F, because we know those two are greater than 90 just by themselves, so we know that those can't be right. So let's see. Alright, so it says angle A and angle D. Well, angle A is 29 and angle D is 71, which that is close. Those would be 100, so unfortunately it is not A. Now it says for angle C and angle E, well, we already canceled E out, so it can't be that one. What about angle B and angle C? Same as the first pair, their sum is 100, so it can't be that one either. However, angle A and C, we are saying 29 and 61. We can do it on the side here. So 29 and plus 61, very simply, is 90 degrees. So it would be that last angle pair, it would be angle A and angle C, because they add up to 90 degrees. For the second one, it says, alright, which two angles are now supplementary? And again, that means what? Well, supplementary means their sum is 180. So make sure you're seeing those two ideas. Again, complementary is 90 degrees, while supplementary is 180. So we know that one of the angles has to be obtuse, meaning greater than 90, and one of them has to be acute. So we're looking for at least one of these two angles. So if they do not include angle F and angle E, that means that it can't be that one. So we know for right away it cannot be this pair, because we already used that in the last one. So first choice, it says angle D and angle E. Angle D is 71 and angle E is 119. So that's going to be close. It's actually going to be 190, which is not quite what we're looking for, so it's not quite that first choice. It says angle C and angle E. So this says, let's try 119. So it has 61 and 119 add together are going to be 180. So for us, our choice is going to be the second one. So again, two angles added together to be 180 is supplementary angles. On the next questions, it says for questions 3 through 7, look at these angles. So it has a bunch of different angle pairs, and you want to make sure you're kind of breaking this apart for yourself, be able to cover different things up, highlight them, however you are able to manipulate this, so that way you can see it a little bit easier, is the strategy. So it says which two angles are vertical angles, and vertical angles are the same. They are the same. You could say they're congruent. but they are opposite each other. So which two angles form an X? So let's maybe try highlighting. So I'm trying to see, all right, well, if I see, again, they are the same and they are opposite of each other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this X here. So I have two line segments that form an angle, and they should form the same angle across from it. So we see that, hey, angle 1 and angle 3 are opposite of each other. That means they are the same. So we're going to say angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. For the second one, it says angle blank is adjacent to angle 1. So we're saying, what does that mean? Well, that means next to. So again, that means next to. Maybe your neighbor angle, whatever you want to call it. But it's saying it's directly next to it, so you could say for this one, again, angle 1 is right here. That means which ones are directly next to it? Well, angle 4 is directly next to that one. Then it says for the next one, it says angle blank is adjacent to angle 2. So same idea, again, adjacent means next to, so we're going to say angle 3 is next to angle 2. Then it says angle blank and angle 1 are supplementary. So that means that two angles add together to equal, again, 180. So again, supplementary is 180 degrees. And if you look, I should be able to make a straight line. That means that two angles add together should be 180 degrees. And if you look, I kind of have like a horizon or a half circle when I have angle 4 and angle 1. Do note though, however, they do not have to be adjacent. That means that two angles that add together to equal 180, they're supplementary, but they do not have to be adjacent to each other. In this case they are, but they don't have to be adjacent. For the next one, it says angle 1 and angle blank are complementary. So we could actually say for this one's a little bit trickier, but we can break it apart. So it says, again, complementary is their sum is 90. And if I look, I can say, hey, I know that angle 1 and angle 2 add together are going to be supplementary. You want to see how, or excuse me, complementary. Angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary because of this. I can say, all right, if I take and draw a straight line going down like this, that means that these three angles added together is 180. Again, if these three angles added together is 180, and one of them already is 90, that means that the other two would add up to be 90 degrees. For number 8, it says all the following statements are true except. So we're looking for a false statement. So we're looking for, so we can even say, look for false. Alright, so let's see here. It says congruent supplementary angles, they each measure 90 degrees. Congruent supplementary angles each measure 90 degrees. Well, that makes sense because it's saying two angles that add together to equal 90. Sure, that would be true. And it says vertical angles share a common vertex. That's true as well. However, adjacent angles, that is false. Again, adjacent angles are just next to each other, and there's nothing special about them besides that. And that says for the next part, it has for questions 9 through 12, you use the angles shown, and it says if angle CAD is 30 degrees, find the measure of the other angles. Excuse me. So it's saying that angle CAD, so it's saying right here is 30 degrees. And so right away I can say, all right, well, angle BAC, everybody's favorite place, those two angles added together has to be 90. And again, I know that since it has that box right there. So that means that angle BAC plus angle CAD would be 90 degrees. So that means that angle BAC is going to be 60 degrees. Again, make sure that you should always know and be able to pull this apart. Again, you're given one fact, and you should be able to find the other ideas from that. And then it says angle BAF. So let's find and say for angle BAF is the one we're looking for. Well, if we just found that angle BAC is 60, so if this part right here is 60 degrees, and we can see that we form a straight line along this segment here, we know that these two added together would be 180, so that means that we can take 180 minus, so we can take 180 minus 60 to find our angle BAF. So our angle BAF is going to be 120 degrees. Again, make sure you're seeing, you can kind of cover up and be able to pull that apart. Alright, so now for the angle DAE, let me use a different color here. I have angle DAE. Well, it's saying, alright, well, I know that this angle here, I used it before, let me kind of highlight that again. I said that this angle here, I said angle BAD is 90 degrees. So that means that this angle also has to be 90 degrees because it is a straight line along here. And so that means that angle DAE is also 90 degrees. And then for the last one, it says angle FAE. Let's find that. We said angle, let's use that blue one again. We said FAE. Let's see. So if we know that this angle here, angle BAF, if we said that is 120, that means that this entire amount again is 180. Let's try drawing that half circle again. That means that this amount is 180, so that means that this angle FAE has to be 60 degrees as well. And you can also see if that is 60 degrees like we just proved, then we could say, well, angle BAC and angle FAE are vertical angles. That means they are opposite each other. And again, you can see it like this. I can draw those two straight lines that form the X. I would say angle FAE and angle BAC are the same. That means they are congruent. And for the last couple on here, it says angles ABC and DEF are complementary. That means their sum is 90 degrees. And so it gives you one of them. It says if one of the angles is 71.8, what is the other angle? So again, we can take the difference of those two to find our last one. So that means we'd have, let's see, it'd be 18.2 degrees. So we could say angle ABC is 18.2 degrees. For number 14, it says find the measure of both angles. So that's going to be a little bit trickier. So let me see if I can set this up. So it's saying, okay, if these two, actually we did this just like an exit ticket. If these two added together is 180, I can set it up like this. I can say, all right, 3x plus 20 plus the other angle, which is x, is equal to 180. Again, I set it up like a normal equation and solve carefully. So I could say, all right, I have 4x plus 20 is equal to 180. Make sure you can do your inverse operation. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. So I have minus 20 from both sides. I'm trying to concentrate very carefully, so I do appreciate if you're following along. On the left side, these cancel out, and so I'm left with 4x. Again, I'm using a mouse currently, so I do apologize if it's hard to read, but hopefully you can make sense of it. So again, I take 180 minus 20 is 160, and then last step, I say that I can divide both sides by 4 to solve for x. And so I'd say x is going to be equal to 40. So x equals 40. So that means that one of these angle measures is going to be 40 degrees. And we said that they're supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. So that means that this other angle here should be 140 degrees. Again, you could also plug in that value into this expression to get that same amount. For number 15, similar idea. However, we're going to say that since these two angles are vertical of each other, that means they are the same. So I can set up an equation like this. I can say on the left I have 3x minus 17. And then on the right I can have the other angle because they are equal to each other. So I can have this equals plus 8. Alright. So what I can do is I can use my inverse operations. I'm going to take the opposite of the smaller coefficient. So I have minus 2x from both sides. If you need to draw your lines for yourself, your railroad tracks, whatever you want to call them, you certainly can. So on the right, I'm just left with my 8, and I have equals, and I should have x, and then minus 17. Last step, be able to add 17 to both sides, because I'm trying to get that variable by itself. So plus 17 to both sides. And so I'm going to have left over is x, and then equals 25. And so now what I'm going to do is, to save myself some time, I'm going to, let me pull up that Desmos calculator real quick. Try to find it in here. Alright, so let me pull this up and show it to you guys. Alright, so if I said my one expression is right here, I can type that in. So I said 3x and then minus, careful there, 3x minus 17, and I have 2x plus 8. I said that my x value is equal to 25, so that means that, again, these two values have to be the same, so that means that angle EAD is going to be equal to 58 degrees. So I'd say for this one, they're both going to be 58 degrees. Again, you can plug that in for yourself and check, but you should get the same value. And for the last one, it says select all correct answers, and it says which are examples of adjacent. So again, that means next to, again, next to, and they share. That also means, let's try this again, let me just put a comma, share, do it like this, so I don't lose my mind on this port. They share a common side or segment. So that means that I should be able to highlight a single line here, and they should be able to be right next to each other. So that means for this first one, since this first one right here has that common side, this is good. However, for the second one, since it has two different lines here, we would say this is not what we are looking for. For a third one, let's try it again. They do share a common side, so these are adjacent angles. And for the last one, we are going to say it is not adjacent angles. So again, make sure you're asking questions for yourself and seeing that carefully.